Hi sluts. You may have seen that I received some blind dates with a book from my best friend Shelby. I have all 5 of them here. I don't want to address the feasibility of me reading 5 books in one vlog that won't be an hour long, so we'll see how this goes. If she would have gotten me 5 books that I knew what they were, they would sit on my TBR for 3 years. Because they are now a little present and they're a mystery, I need to know what these are. 2 of them I'm suspicious, so let's go through what these all are from the top, even though I'm sure I will reiterate each time I choose a new one. Very first, we have a mass market paperback. By the way, these all have like matching tabs and stickers on them. Cute. She said this one's a romance, one of my 5-star authors, first in a series in mass market romance. I have a prediction that this is either Tessa Dare or Julia Quinn. Next is another paperback, which I'm assuming is another romance, because this one says romance. It's first in a series and has a theme I've been wanting to try out. It's also sapphic, and our friend Sonia gave it 4 stars, and it's a cover sleigh. But I don't know what has a theme you've wanted to try out means. Hopefully it's not sports. Next there's a hardback. This one is a romance and has a theme I've been wanting to read. I don't know what that means and I'm nervous. It's a second in a series, but it could be read as a standalone. She got it not knowing it wasn't the first. And 2 of our friends, Emily and Bonnie, have given this 4.5 stars, and she also describes it as Gilmore Girls Fall in Georgia. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is a witchcraft book. We'll see. I'm excited for this one. So this is like the biggest book out of them all. It's another hardback, and this is a Book Talk favorite author, Sarah. I don't know. It's a fantasy first book in a series. She says you have loved this author's other books, and it's a medieval kingdom but with pirates and monsters and a morally gray queen. I have no idea what that could be, but I'm hoping it's Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. As we all know, I'm really big into Lord of the Rings right now, and that has been described as like Lord of the Rings. She was inspired by it, she has said herself. So I'm hoping it's that, because there haven't really been other books that I've loved by other authors. I mean, this could be Claire Legrand's standalone fantasy book. I have no idea. I'm scared. And then this last one is also a hardcover. It's historical fiction, dual timeline, adult, centered around an animal-based sport and the history of racism there. So part of me is wondering if it's horse racing. I asked her whether she chose these because she knows I want to read them or if they're things that she thought I would like, and she said it's a mix of both. The hard part is which one will I read first. I did just come off of a series read of the entire Narnia series where I was really trying to read them quickly. That felt like a labor of love because it's written in the 50s and the writing style was not that conducive to binge reading. So I just want something that's going to be really addicting and easy to pick up and get into. So that puts me either in the territory of the sapphic romance or this second book in a series new theme romance. We're doing the sapphic one. It's still Pride Month. We gotta start out strong. So she said that she tried to match some of these sticky tabs up with the book. I have no idea what blue or green could be. And this is the fun part. Now we unwrap. Ready? I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. This is the best gift idea ever, by the way. If you have friends who are readers, you have to do this. Okay. Hopefully I'm holding it toward you and not me. I am. Oh! Oh! This is not what I was expecting. I don't think I've ever heard of this. Okay, so my prediction was that this was going to be a witchy book, but I thought that this was going to be a witchy book. Did she get me 2 witchy books? So the backstory with witchcraft is I am not into it. And I feel like that's a character flaw for me because there's probably so many good books about witches out there, but it's just not something that's ever interested me. I don't find that magic style very interesting. Honestly, sometimes it can come off as cringe and overdone. I grew up in a Christian household, so I was never allowed to like be a witch for Halloween, so I've just never been really exposed to it. I'm gonna read some now. And I've just now realized my center part is absolutely gobsmacked, so I'll have to go fix that. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot and see how it goes. I was like a little bit speechless because I was not expecting to have a book about witchcraft. Let's go read. Okay, well, I'm on page 3, already breaking up the sticky tabs because this book's writing so far is so beautiful, but it's just this very vivid scene about her driving back to her hometown that she left for 5 years and the feeling of magic for the first time coming back over her. So far, I love the writing style. I also forgot to mention 2 things. First of all, the book's title is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. And this is blurb by Emily Henry. So I'm shocked that I've never heard of this. Already loving it, already tapping it, which is always a good sign. Okay, ignore the fact that I got bored after my shower, so I cut my hair. Reading update before bedtime because it's 11. I got to page 60 of my book, 6 chapters in. I can finally update with a synopsis because I've gotten deep enough into this. So Emmy comes back from like a 10-year escape from this town she grew up in that's all magical. She left because she had this spectacular breakup with this guy that she was in love with. As she's back in town, she meets up with her best friend and meets this girl who she went to school with, and among the three of them they all realize they have all three been scorned by this man. Further backstory: in this small town there are 4 main families that are like the founding families. The town is at this point kind of a tourist trap for people to come visit around Halloween time because it's spooky ooky vibes, but the 4 families all have different affinities in magic. The leading family is this guy that the main character has drama with, and every 50 years there's like a spell casting competition or like a tournament, the outcome of which determines which family will be the one who's most powerful for the next 50 years. And so because it has to be executed by the youngest members that are over 18 of the current families, this year's tournament is between the main character, her best friend's twin brother, this new mysterious girl Talia, and the man who has scorned them all. And they're starting a plot to take him down. My AC just came on, which means you might hear the wind, so I gotta wrap this up. But again, I still love the writing. However, some of the dialogue is overwritten to the point of being a little bit cringe. Like, they just go on and on a little bit too much. The book is 300 pages, which is not bad at all, but it just feels like the characters talk so much. Hey girls! It's been like a week since I recorded. I feel like it could be sooner. If you're wondering what this shit all is, I have a seaweed, honey, and aloe face mask on because I just got back from the pool. I'm not just here with my titties out. This is actually for the first time ever. I wore a bikini to the pool. Oh, I just tasted the mask. Oops, I licked it. Don't do that. Actually, it was kind of yummy, but don't do it. I went to the pool today with my friend Lisa, and I tried to read a little bit more of this. I can tell you that I'm on page 130 because I put my book down for 5 seconds and the binding melted and fell apart. Which might be like book nerd 101 that you don't leave books in the hot sun, but that was news to me. I don't know if it's because I was at the pool where I was distracted or if it's just genuinely getting a little bit harder to read, but we already had the first trial, which is the reason why the main character's back in town, and like that was fine. It wasn't very like high stakes. But I just really can't pay attention to these characters' dialogues, and I don't know if it's because I was distracted at a pool or if it's just like kind of boring. I don't know. I'm trying not to revert back to my default stance on witchy books, which is that they're a little bit cringe to me, so I'm like, no, get through it. It's just weird that I loved the writing of the first couple chapters and now it's really taking a backseat to how not great the dialogue is. At this rate, it's gonna take forever to read all these books, and I do want to do the plus size readathon in August, so I need to somehow read the rest of these books in a month. So I need to get on it. Good evening. I don't remember when the last time I updated is, but it is almost midnight on Friday, the day after 4th of July. I just finished Payback's a Witch. And yes, every time I read this title, in my brain I do go, Payback's a Witch, I should've known better. So it does get stuck in my head frequently. I think I'm gonna give this like 3.5 stars. I liked the first half better tone-wise, but I think the second half finally picked up with the action. I can't get out of my head that this feels like it was written by 2 completely different people. The first person only wrote dialogue and the second person only wrote the description scenes because they were so starkly different. I loved the writing style when she was describing the town or describing her emotions or like puzzling through something mentally, but then as soon as she would talk to anyone, the dialogue was so cringe. There were just so many outdated references in this. They just didn't talk like normal people. It feels like you were reading like a Manic Pixie Dream Girl book. Also, the underlying issue I had with the whole setup of this book is that they're all doing these trials as witches to get back at this guy who dated all of them, then dumped them. And I just can't get over the idea that like, why do you care so much about a man? The whole plot is driven by how much they're all despising this dude, and I'm like, why do we give that much attention to a man? Especially because the reason why Emmy left the town in the first place is because she had a bad breakup with him when she was 17. It just felt so unrealistic to me that these characters were so impassioned by this dude who was like corny and annoying and stupid. And the competition itself was pretty boring. It didn't really take up that much space in the book, and the trials, like the main character is pretty much just the judge, so she's not involved in any of it, she's just a witness. And so those scenes were all kind of like, oh, okay. I think I finally put my finger on what I don't enjoy about witchcraft-esque books. It's because I don't like urban fantasy, because I need modern lingo and like modern outfits and everything to be separate from, now I'm gonna do some magic. I don't know why those two things just cannot blend for me. Yeah, overall, didn't hate it, but it was fine. The relationship was okay. I will say Emily Henry described this as sexy, and I do think that was a lie, because the one sex scene was fade to black. So what was the point of that? Anyway, not a bad place to start. We could go uphill from here, so we'll see. I'm gonna go choose my next book, even though I'm getting sleepy. I'm just so curious to see what's next. And I think I know which one I want to do. This is the other romance book. To remind you, it says it's one of my 5-star authors. It's the first in a series, and it's a mass market paper, obviously. Let's go. Unboxing. Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and let you see it first. What is this? Oh, okay, it is Tessadaire. Blurb by Julia Quinn. Did I just get both of those? Oh my god, I haven't heard of this. Okay. Oh, I have heard of this series title. It's the Spindle Cove series. Oh my god, this is 2 for 2 for books I never heard of. I don't know, it doesn't even sound familiar. Okay, I guess we'll give this a go. I did read, she's mentioning this because I read Tessadaire's other series, the Stud Club series, and I gave the whole trilogy like 5 stars. It's some of the best writing I've ever read, so hoping that Tessadaire continues to hit a home run. I'm gonna give it a whirl. I'm gonna at least start it tonight and we'll see how sleepy I get. Yeah, important update. We're on page 6 and I've already got 3 tabs on 1 page, so one can say that this might be okay. This book might be good. Y'all, I'm not kidding. First of all, good morning. This book could splay me open, spit on me, walk over me, call my mom a whore. This book is so good. I was so skeptical last night. I had no idea what the hell that description was talking about. It's so good. I'm 100 pages into this. I have not been able to put it down. When I started it last night, I was like, I'll get a chapter and then get bored and go to bed. I was giggling. I was kicking my toes. There's already been like 2 kissing scenes. There's already so much angst. It very much is playing off of the themes back when women used to be like hysterical. Be like, they need to recover by the seaside. And so the main character, Suzanne, very much hates that whole culture. And so they on the outside appear to be this like prim and proper, we do our needlework and we learn prayers. But then once the sun goes down, so to speak, they're like doing poetry about how they hate their husbands and playing games outside. Like, it's just such a refuge from the world, but they let other people think it's this proper society thing. It's so fun. And then the guy and his like 2 besties, it's set during the War of 1812, which I'm assuming is the correct war. I have not googled it, but it's set in 1813 and they're mad at France, so one can assume. And so the main male lead is like, I need a place in this war. I'm a lieutenant colonel. Like, I need to stand against France for my country or whatever. But he got injured in battle. And so the only position he's been offered to do is to protect this small town on the coast because it's unguarded and it's right across the coast from France. So he has to gather a group of military men, and it's in a town where there's like no men. He's very much arrogant and he thinks this town is stupid because there's no men, and she is constantly like, oh, so you're feeling insecure because you hate that we don't need men to exist here. So I think it's poking a lot of fun at gender roles in that time. As much fun as I'm having, it really does feel like a white feminist problem to be like, we don't need men. But tell me why this book has tall representation. Every single scene, she talks about how tall she is and he thinks about how tall she is. I have been tabbing the daylights out of this. I love the dialogue. I love Tessa Dare's writing. I don't know why I thought she would ever lead me astray. So far, it is so good. I plan on doing nothing else today except read this, and that is unusual for me. I'm very tempted to watch YouTube all day, but this I actually am obsessed with. And I know this can't be anything other than steamy because Tessa Dare will not lead me astray. I see this definitely hurtling towards a 5 stars, if not a very strong 4.5 stars, unless something drastic happens. But oh my god, it's so fun! Well, certainly the intention was not to finish this book at 3 a.m., but I just couldn't stop reading it. It was so good. I think I read this in like 2 sittings. Do you see all these tabs? No, because the camera's not focusing. There we go. I respect this book for having multiple sex scenes, none of which are indoors. So if you're into that, this would be a great book for you. A lot of the characters, like both of them are very stubborn and they are staunch in what they believe, and so they're constantly butting heads about it. And obviously I'm on the woman's side because men are stupid and prideful and masculine, and so it feels nice to be able to like rally behind the woman also being like, but men rule the world, like why are you being a baby and like you want to be more powerful than me? In the end, I think we got to a good place with it, but there were so many times where he was just so prideful, especially surrounding his leg injury, where he was just like, I'm not worth anything if I'm not being productive, which obviously ableism was not a thing in like 1813, but it took a long time for him to come around to thinking, you know, he can still have value if he's not fully able-bodied. I couldn't stay mad at him though for that entire sentiment because it really spurs from, and Bonnie's gonna roll her eyes because she's in the background on FaceTime, but there's this quote that the female main character accuses him of that says, "You would rather die chasing your old life than screw up the courage to forge a new one," because the whole reason why he's intent on going back to the war even after his injuries because like that's all he's known. So I was like, I get it. I get it. That was cute, not cute, kind of traumatizing. Anyway, I just love how Tessa Dare characters, especially the female main characters, are always so capable and smart, and they don't just like let men walk all over them. Colleen Hoover. Oh, the one thing, and this is a good transition to saying that I want to continue this series for sure, but I love all the side characters that you can kind of tell are gonna be in the future books, so I'm very interested in reading on. I have no idea who book 2 is about, and I would be really excited if any of them follow Thorn, who is another soldier that he's with, who is like a man of not a lot of words. He's just tall and large and I really need to read a book about him. I think he's gonna be with Kate. I don't know. I could just be making that up, but I shipped them so hard. Oh my god, I'm using the word ship like it's 2014. Anyway, 5 stars. It was so good. Shelby knows me well. I don't think I would have ever reached for this though. Even though I loved the Stud Club series, I thought it might have been a fluke. So, yay. Turns out she's consistent. And also, if Julia Quinn blurbs it, that's only adding another stamp of approval. Highly recommend this, but start with Stud Club because that one was like immaculate. Anyway, guess what? Time to unbox another book at 3:30 a.m. Oh my god, you can tell I've been like horizontal for the past 4 hours reading. We have 3 more options. We have now entered the hardback section of this video. I'm at the point where I don't know what to choose next. This is historical fiction and I'm not sure I'm in the mood for that right now, but I'm concerned that this romance one is also a witchy book, and I just read a witchy book, so I kind of wanted to save this for last in case it's witchy. What do I do? Fantasy or historical fiction? Listen, I'm gonna have to read the fantasy book, okay? It's the one I'm most excited about. It's a book talk favorite author, which I think means Victoria Aveyard. Fantasy, first in a series. I loved this author's other books. There's no way this isn't Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard, and I really want to read that. So, let's find out if I'm right. I'm so good. I'm so excited for this, especially because she didn't put this in the description, but people have told me that she like has mentioned this being Lord of the Rings-esque. I'll be here till 5 a.m. if y'all need me. Just investigating this map. Oh my god. It smells like new book. I'm so excited. For context, Red Queen, I read the whole series last year and rated all of them 5 stars. They were all incredible. So I'm really excited for this because I loved her writing. I loved her character building. I know nothing about this. Her description said like morally gray queen and monsters and stuff. I think it's another trilogy. I don't even know if it's a finished series. We are going. I know I'm gonna be crying into my pillow about having to start a new fantasy book and understand the world building, but before I go to bed, I wanna like at least get a couple of chapters of this read. This is the best choice I could have made. All right, I'm gonna start this book. I'll put the other 2 hardbacks aside and we will see you either in a week when I have time to read or maybe after I read it in one sitting. Who's to say? Hello, goblins and gremlins. I just edited this vlog thus far because I really have no idea when the last time I talked about this is. Turns out, I just unwrapped it and then didn't talk about it for 2 weeks or however long it's been. I am now like 415 pages into Realmbreaker and I didn't even give you a synopsis, so thank God I'm far enough through now to provide that. This book follows 4 main characters. Let me back up and frame the world real quick though. This whole place they call the Ward. It is a world that used to have portals that you could go to other worlds through, but those have all been broken. So a remnant of that is that there are some immortal beings in this world called elders. One of our main characters is Dom, who's immortal, but he was born in the Ward, so he knows nothing about his home realm. There's also an assassin who is just cutthroat and heartless and smart and just gets them out of all the situations they get into. There's also a squire, which if you're like me and didn't know what that means, he was like the right-hand man of a knight. And then the main character is Coran, who's a daughter of a pirate. Pretty much in the prologue, there's this evil dude who's like, I'm gonna break open the realms again and there's gonna be bad things that pour from it and I'm gonna control the world with them. So there's like 12 of like the mightiest knights in the realm that all go to defeat him, and all of them except for Dom get killed. So Dom and the squire who witnessed it, Andri, know the gravity of we have to save the world. We need someone with spindle blood. Spindles are what they call the portals, to be able to close them and make sure this doesn't happen and defeat this bad guy. And Coran is spindle blood, but she like has never left her hometown for her whole life, and so they have to go journey to her and find her. They employ the assassin to help her get safely from her home city to where the spindle is. This is so much explanation I have to do just to set it up, but you can kind of tell why that gives Lord of the Rings, because it's like we have this fellowship of people that are protecting this girl and the sword that's gonna help her close it. It's been, I don't want to say a labor of love because I have been enjoying it. Like you'll see I've been tabbing it, but I was curious and looked at the reviews for this while I'm still, you know, 150 pages from the end of it, and Goodreads pretty much is confirming the feelings I have on it so far, which is it's really long, it's heavy on world building and not very heavy on character building or plot. So a lot of pages happen, but not a lot of action within those pages. So that's why it's been a bit slow going. I am enjoying it. I really like her writing style. I love the character dynamics that she's setting up with each of their personalities and how they all work together on this journey. I will just say the characters are very set in. They don't really do anything unexpected outside of that, so it has begun to get a little bit repetitive of, you know, that this character is always going to feel and react this way and this character is always going to say something snarky to this character. So it's just getting a little bit muddled. I did see some reviews that say it's very geography based, so if you're the kind of person who loves when they mention somewhere and you immediately go run to the map and look for it, like I am so that kind of person. So I definitely think that this is going to be more of an entry book into the series than a good book in the series, if that makes sense. I think this is definitely the foundation for book 2 and book 3 to have a lot more interesting action in it. I did also read some reviews that there is no romance, which I believe, because there's zero angst or pining in this. It's also interesting because the 2 younger characters, Andri and Coran, are both like 17, but then the assassin is like in her 30s or close to 30. And obviously the immortal guy is like 500, but he looks like he's 30. So you got like your young couple and your older couples. Like no matter what age you are, you can find someone to relate to, I guess. The one thing I will applaud Victoria for, and maybe it's not that much of a compliment, but her writing is very simplistic. It's still pretty, don't get me wrong, but a lot of her sentences are very short, so it doesn't feel like you're slogging through this book to get further into it. Even though like not a lot happens and some people could think that this is boring, it's like her writing is digestible enough to not make it impossible to get through. It's a lot. I don't think she's chewed off too much, but I don't think we've gone deep enough into it. So that's why I think books 2 and 3 will be better. And I did do a preliminary Google just now, squinting to make sure I didn't see any spoilers, but I wanted to know if book 3 was out already, and it is. I don't know 100% if it's a trilogy or if it's going to continue beyond that, because for the scope of the world and for the entirety of book 1 to basically just be world building, there's either going to be a lot of action in books 2 and 3 or it's going to be a continuation past book 3. I could be wrong. I do see why this has like a 3.8 stars, because I think I'm leaning toward a 4 stars. Again, I still have like 150 pages left. We'll see if I get wowed. That is my update. It has been so long since I've touched this blog, so hi. Okay, I feel like I pretty much explained all my thoughts on this, so hopefully when I finish it there's not much else to say, but there's the update. Hello, WhittyNovels YouTube channel. I'm here at Whitney's place, cat sitting. She's in Miami, living La Vida Loca. You want dinner ASMR? Gordo's going to Pound Town. Thanks for checking in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that stuff. So, love you. I don't know who half of y'all are.